I am writing a book. Ever since I was little, I would write little stories in notebooks, and reading has always been my number one hobby. And I feel like maybe not all readers, but most readers have always wanted to take the inspiration and write their own book. Over the years, I've had many different story ideas and I try, but I just always seem to fail or give up or lose inspiration, and I never managed to write a whole book. I have lots of different started projects on my computer. I have lots of different drafts and plans on my computer, but they've never actually made it to a full start to end story. But I want to change that. So to keep myself accountable, I thought if I post a video saying that I'm writing a book, I have to do it. This is the start of the Writing Diaries series. I don't know how long this series is going to last or how frequent these videos are going to be, but the overall goal is by the time this series is over, I will have written the first draft of a book. This is just kind of an introduction and just a little bit as to how I've been planning or how I am planning my different projects. I think the next video is just going to be me talking a little bit about each of the projects I have. I think there are 5 in total, so my first sort of main goal is I need to narrow down and work out which one I'm going to work on, because I think half of my problem at the minute is because I have like 5 different projects. I'm just planning for whichever one I'm in the mood for and not ever focusing on one, and each one is getting more and more ideas put into them, but I'm not actually putting the time to sit and write them. So I need to work out which one is going to be my focus. I just thought making a series like this is going to keep me accountable because I've said out loud that I'm doing it now, but also it will be fun to document that journey of writing, because hopefully at the end of this, as I say, I will have a completed first draft, and I would just really like to look back on the process of me getting to that point. I've been watching lots of YouTube videos like this on developing characters, developing stories, and then I've got a notebook here that I've been using to kind of write down any tips that I have found. One way I'm trying to research, I'm trying to read books that have similar vibes or similar tropes or just similar things to some of the projects which I have in mind, just to give me a little bit of inspiration, see how authors incorporate these things into their stories. So for example, the project I have with Shannon, I want to read Twin Crowns. In our story we are having 2 princesses, so although our story is not going to be the same as this, we're going to read this together to give us an idea of how these 2 authors, as again there's 2 people, there's 2 of us, how the 2 authors work together, but also how they write 2 different princesses, just to give us ideas on that. And then I've also started reading What Lies Beyond the Veil. I don't know how much this is going to relate to that project, but there is going to be an element of a veil in it. So again, I'm just trying to read these for bits of inspirations to see how different authors incorporate these things. And obviously we're not going to copy these ideas or use any of the ideas that are in these in our own story. It's just for inspiration and to keep me inspired with my own story. So another one of my projects is set in a bookshop, so for that I have the book Boyfriend and also Booked on a Feeling to give me those kinds of ideas. I did recently read Last Chance Books, and I'd had this particular idea for absolute years and I've kind of planned it. I've tried writing it here and there, but I've never really been inspired. But because I love this book so much, it inspired me to go back to that book idea. So I picked up a few more that have the theme of a bookshop or a setting of a bookshop to just try and keep that inspiration going. So maybe that will be the project I get to first. However, the main project which I want to focus on, or I think will probably the one that I finish first, is themed around one of the main characters being a vampire. To be honest, for that I am mostly been watching things. I've been reading the Zodiac Academy series, which has been giving me some kind of inspiration as there are vampires in that, but I've also been watching the Vampire Diaries and the originals because I love those shows anyway, but it just kind of gives me an idea of how different characters would react to different scenarios, and it's also just kind of helping me work out how vampires are going to work within my fictional world, what their strengths and weaknesses are going to be, getting ideas from different series and how vampires work in different worlds such as Twilight and the Vampire Diaries and Zodiac Academy and things like that, and just working out how vampires are different between different worlds and how I can make my vampires strong but also different and not the same as all the others, if that makes sense. So I guess this is kind of a fun part of trying to write a story, is finding the inspiration in things that you enjoy. Shannon and I have also put aside dedicated days for planning and writing of our projects. For example, the other day we went to Waterstones, had a wander around and then just sat in the cafe and did some planning, which we actually got quite a lot done. If you are also in the same position as me, or if you have written a book, whether you have published it or if it is just something that you have done for yourself, then please let me know what your process was, or if you watch any authors or if there are any creators that talk about this kind of thing, then please let me know, because I would love to learn more and just see how other people who are in the same position as me get to that final end point. I know this video has been a little bit jumbled, but I hope it is kind of giving you an idea of what I am planning with this series, and I hope you stick around, and who knows, maybe in a few months time we will have this first draft.